Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that I have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. So, I have been looking forward to this since it was announced in April. Today is July the 2nd. It is a Wednesday, and I went and picked it up at my local comic book store. Now, because Marvel Comics doesn't really pay attention to stuff, it is supposed to be 140.5, and they put 104.5, and nobody caught it. So, this is the Uncanny X-Men 140.5. It is a prelude to Days of Futures Past. Now, this story was originally published in 2020. However, us regular little people couldn't afford this because it was included in a hardcover collection called the Marvel Made Paragon Collection, the Chris Claremont. And it was a limited edition prestige hardcover. So the vast majority of us could not look at this. Only a few pages were available online. And that was it. So you could look at like the first 5 pages of this, but that was it. And so I am so excited to share this with you. So, cover is by Salvador Larroca, a Spaniard who loves Photoshop. And at least, so I compare Salvador Larroca to Greg Land in that they both love to copy faces, and they want to basically make everyone someone famous or someone. So they use actual people, and they don't just put whoever, you let their own imagination. They always have to cast someone. And so Salvador Larroca worked in Iron Man with Matt Fraction. I don't know if you remember the Invincible Iron Man run that Matt Fraction had. And he casted the guy from Lost, Josh Holloway. I think he's got some show now on Max as well. But that was the Tony Stark that he casted. So everyone basically is somebody here. But that's okay. Right now, what we're concentrating on is this book that I have been desperately trying to get my hands on, and I finally have it. So, all right, here we go. And so we start here with Welcome to the Future, and we got ourselves a Sentinel here. Inquiry Director Ahab provided current status of Hound Prime, identification code 18138512. And so this soldier here says, "Sir, our screens are dark. All our data links have crashed." And she continues, "We've lost contact with the Gene Freak and its Sentinel Strike Force." And Ahab says, "Impossible." And so we see Rachel Summers here. "That monster is a baseline foundation of the Hound program. Everything derives from it. Whatever happened, find a way to get it back now," he yells. Now, part of La Roca's style is you'll see that he does these, and I'm sure that it is that he doesn't lay each one down, but he basically cuts these things, and you'll see it all over. So it's like he uses an online screen tone, and then uses probably another one, probably white, and then or an eraser and then cuts into each, or he has created his own. But you'll see that is all over his work. If you are familiar with Larroca in the Darth Vader book, in the first Darth Vader, you saw that he did this all over. So it's part of his current style. And so here we get our double page. It says here, somewhere else, Rachel Summers was stripped of her humanity long ago. What remains is a thing, and you can see her here. Oh, she looks so nasty. That hunts, and when her master command, kills. And so here we get our title. Of course, Chris Claremont is the writer, and Salvador Larroca is the artist here. It would have been nice if they could have gotten Tom Orzechowski to letter this. Actually, it would have been really nice if John Byrne would have done this, but alas, this beggars can't be choosers. And so you see here what I believe is Bishop here, and he says this was not a good idea, and Nightcrawler says a little late to back out now, Bishop. And then he's like, damn it, she's quick. So they're fighting the other hounds here. And I don't know who this is, but I'm sure we'll be told. And she says, I wonder if that's Tessa. And she says, I warned you. And the blonde one here says, no worries, sweetie. I've got you. And Nightcrawler says, Bess, now is not the time. And she says, wrong, lover. In this crazy world, you grab for moments of passion every chance you get, because you never know which one will be your last. Surprise, puppy gal. Bet you didn't see this coming. And so she goes here to fight, and Nightcrawler says, be careful, everyone. The slightest cut will infect you with her nanites. So you can see she's taking one of the hounds here. And Bishop says, no worries, mate. I'll hold her fast. All yours, Sage. That's right. Sage is the name for Tessa. So Tessa is what she was called when she worked with oh my God, the Hellfire Club, Sebastian Shaw. And Sage is is her name when she joined the X-Men here. So, all right. And so they have Rachel here, and she tries to punch her. She says missed, and you can see Rachel got out of the way here. And Nightcrawler says, Bishop, look. And she gets over him and pops her claws, and it says here, everything happens too fast. Suddenly, out! Someone screams here. This is a nice upshot here. I like that. Suddenly, you see this zap and this blue laser coming out. Only one among the team can react in time. And so who is it? It's Iron Man. And yet again, Kid Stark saves the day. And he says, don't fret, Nightcrawler, I just stunned her, which I still think is a big mistake. The Hound's better off vaporized, says Iron Man. And nice. Very nice. I'm a completionist, so I really want to have the entire Chris Claremont run, including all the backstories that he has done. So I have all his classic X-Men. I have most of his run on Uncanny X-Men, starting in 125. So for 125 up, I have everything Chris Claremont did with Uncanny X-Men. I have all the New Mutants. I have all the Excaliburs. I have, my goodness, I have his Wolverine run. So anyway, so you see this this big bubble here, and is it Tessa? I don't know. It doesn't tell me which one it is. It says her name is Rachel, and Iron Man says, "Whatever. Time to go, team. We've pushed our luck enough already." And Claremont lets us know, and just like that, they walk through a portal, and so to emerge on the far side of the globe, amid an emptiness so vast even Sentinel scanning technology can't keep an eye on it at all. So Iron Man says, "I'll ask again, Kurt, are you sure about this?" And Nightcrawler says, "Look at this child. Thanks to the Sentinels and Ahab, she's become more tech than human." And so we see that Gateway is still around during this era. And so Nightcrawler continues, "You're a Stark, right up your alley." And Iron Man says, "Very funny. Weren't you listening before? We're better off killing her. You do know that, right?" And Nightcrawler says, "What I know is that this time, with Rachel, we have to try a better way. What I ask is that you have faith. I learned that a long time ago from a 13-year-old teammate." So that would be Kitty Pryde. And so here Gateway watches them. And so glad to see you're paying attention, Fuzzy Elf. Now all you guys have to do is save the world. No problem, yeah? So that looks like it was Kitty Pryde narrating. And again, you see these little ticks here all throughout. So it's a trope of Salvador Larroca. And so what do we got there? We had a blank page. So, all right. And Bishop says, "No offense, kid, but I sure hope you know what you're doing." And who is this? What's it look like, big guy? And she says, "Looks fun to me." And so that must be Kid Iron Man here. If only those critters on screens are nanites, and that's what we're looking at here. Ahab used them to turn Rachel into a living weapon. And so you can see what he looks like underneath his armor. One slash, her prey either becomes lesser hounds or the nanites kill him. That's why she fragged and sealed inside multiple force field. We can't afford any mistakes. And Bishop says, "Don't you get it? People, just by bringing her here, we've already made one. I'm sorry, Kurt. What's done is done. You can't save her." And Nightcrawler off panel says, "That isn't what this is about." So Nightcrawler says, "Rachel's my goddaughter. If there was a way to save her, no matter how small, don't you think I'd take it? Truth is, we've barely saved anyone. God isn't that merciful," he says. And he says, "But here's the thing, Sentinels can't create. That's why they need Ahab and Rachel, for their human intuition. Ahab controls her, but through her, the Sentinels learn about us." And so, would this be Kitty? I don't know. That's the part with modern storytelling, which Claremont is implying, is that they don't say always who's who, and that frustrates me to no end here. So, I don't think it's Kitty because of the hair. So, all right. Anyway, this person says, "I get it. Take out her and Ahab. We buy ourselves time for what? A miracle?" And Nightcrawler says, "Yes." And oh, is that Iron Man? Okay. I saw the shirt, so now I believe this is Iron Man, or Iron Man Jr. or whatever. So it's a girl. So all right. And she says, more fool you for having faith. More fool me for following your lead." So here's the deal. This is a telepath op. No one physically goes into her brain. Sage and Bess drain all the knowledge they can find. I void what's left. And continues here. Not that it'll make a difference. Sentinel Biotech simply bring her back. Um, you can see how hard the nanites are fighting me right now. And Nightcrawler says, it's our only option. Each day, my friends, we get older, the Sentinels get better. Do the math. Our sole advantage is our young, brilliant Stark. She isn't a mutant. She's totally off the radar for now. But it's only a matter of time before they figure things out. This is our shot. And Bishop says, what are the odds, Sage? And Sage says, while we live, Bishop, we have hope. And he says, that bad. Suppose something goes wrong. And Stark says, ideally, we bring him home. And so, who is this girl then? And so Nightcrawler and her kiss again. Worst case, we kill them. And so Iron Man says, time to go. And so, love you too, sweetie. See you later. So off they go. So here goes with the nanites here. And the pink one says, whoa, yo, Sage. So Sage is the blue one. We're supposed to be right. Because all I see are nanites. There's nothing else left of memory or consciousness. The nanites has stripped her bare. I knew it would be bad, but this time for us to go then. And Sage says no. I sense something. And she says, Sage says, I need you to buy me enough time to find it. And so, is this Psylocke? So when they said, but they said Bess, not Beth. My pleasure, says the pink one. I don't know who this is. And Sage says, Bess considers no one her equal, and has the body counts to prove it. But now she faces an almost limitless number of nanites. I pray she proves a match for them as well, thinks Sage. Oh, and Sage looks at this thing. Whatever I expected, this is not it. I have seen such structures before. At the core of people's beings, they represent the totality of their lives. An idealized stronghold embracing both memories and experience. Whatever the nanites are doing to Rachel's consciousness is tearing it apart. But the fragments haven't been consumed. They seem to be going somewhere else. Those lights, shaped to represent Einstein Cross. So, this is cool. It's really neat to look up and down. So you see the building here. This is actually quite cool. I like that. Looking up and then looking down. This is awesome. This is very good here. Four exploding galaxies framing an even larger fifth at its core, generating a light and power almost as primal as creation itself. But why here? What could it possibly mean? Only one way to find out. The fragments are resisting me. And you can see her here kind of struggling with this. Even as they reform into something new. Tortured as she is, Rachel's still defending herself. And so you can see Jean Grey holding baby Rachel here. And so she goes, whatever's here at her core must be. And then she says, gasp. And Iron Man says, guys, this is crazy. We only just sent them inside, but the telemetry's spiking across the board. Something's happening, and it's not good, as he points to something. Heads up. And so Bess hits Sage here. We've been suckered, Sage. This is a trap. Our psychic forms are infected with nanites. Our only chance is to run right now. And Sage says, no. What they want, no, that's what they want for us, to lead them home. Bad enough we've led them here. I'm sorry, Bess. Rachel's too important. We have to save her whatever the cost. And Bess says, so what do we do? And she says, we destroy them all. Oh, baby, I do so like your style. You know we don't have a prayer. And she says, I have hope. I wonder if that's a nod to Hope Summers. So, and Bishop says, something's happening. And Iron Man says, a power surge from the Hound's core. It's off the scale. Tangible figures are materializing. And Bess says, what the hell? And Sage here says, the nanites, Bess, they're being purged from all forms. You and me, Rachel, uh, they're being destroyed. And Nightcrawler recognizes, Jean, it's the Phoenix. Look at that. That's actually, wow, the little baby here, kind of. Um, and so Jean Grey says, there you are, my darling. Back to the way you're supposed to be. And he's Nightcrawler speaking in German. And Jean Grey again says, about time, Kurt. I was beginning to think you guys would never show. Jean, sorry, are you Jean or are you? And she says, both as always. I don't understand. Then why didn't you protect her? And Phoenix says, what you think I've been doing all these years? You're right, my friend. I am Phoenix. Earth is my home. You're my friends. Rachel is my child. But I'm responsible for all creations. Still getting used to that, you know? What you see here is the smallest part of me. I kept Rachel, my baby soul, safe until you heroes came to rescue her. As always, what happens next is up to you. So, you see her here with Rachel here. And so Bess is up and Nightcrawler goes to her. And so she goes, now that's what I call an adventure. And then a bishop with Sage. He says, and she says, I've much to process. And then Iron Man says, you bitch, you let my parents die. And Phoenix says, your father died saving you, girl. Kurt's wife died saving him. I did what was necessary to save my daughter, but that's all I can do. And you can see that it's disappearing here. What comes next is her choice. And she says, goodbye, Mom. And Phoenix continues, help her make the right one. And so you see all these people kind of like ghosts almost behind her. And someone off panel says, Rachel? She says, hey, Kurt. Hello, Miss Stark. And Nightcrawler says, we have a plan, a possible means to defeat the Sentinels. And she says, then let's get started. Problem is, it won't work without you, says Iron Man. And Nightcrawler says, Rachel, you don't have to do this. You've suffered enough. And Rachel Summers says, if I do nothing, others will suffer more. Power responsibility, Kurt. That's as much a part of me as my power. And Nightcrawler says, Ahab. And she says, leave Ahab to me. And the Sentinels, I know them better than I know myself. I'm something new, way beyond their conceptions of mutants or humanity. That broke their hold on me, with a little help from my mom. They won't do a thing till they figure out how dangerous a threat I truly am and how to end me. And so, and she goes, that easy, huh? Or ja? And she says, anything but, especially once they've learned I'm immune to their nanites. And Nightcrawler says, are you for sure? He asks. Only one way to find out, but yeah, I am, she continues. They'll try their best to break me, but I'm not a kid anymore. And so she continues here. This time I'll win. And Nightcrawler says, you hope. And Rachel says, it's a risk I owe the dead to take. And Nightcrawler asks, and then? And Rachel answers him, things should get really interesting. And so she says, I don't get this, lover. If this kid has all the great powers, why doesn't she just fry the Sentinels? It's what I do. And so she's saying over here. And Nightcrawler says, she's effectively just been born, Bess. Her powers are potential. She has to grow into them, which will take time. And Iron Man says, if my plan works, otherwise, we've warned the Sentinels of a new threat and given them the means to adapt. And so Nightcrawler says, it's Rachel's call. All we can do, my friends, is have faith and pray. And Bishop says, been doing that since we started. And Sage says, strange as it may seem, my friend, I choose to have faith. And Iron Man says, crazy as it sounds, after all I said, me too. And you see a gateway here, I think opening up a gateway. And I think, so is this Kitty here? And so here's Ahab. And so, yep, it is Kitty. Me 3, kiddo, I'm Kate Pride. Long ago, folks knew me better as Shadowcat. A whole lot's changed since then. Now my best friend's free to chart her own course and maybe change history. Boy, oh boy, won't the Sentinels be surprised. Like you said, my love, things should get really interesting. And so that's the story. Now, if you notice, there's more pages, but what it is this thing reprints Days of Futures Past in its entirety, so which I have already covered. So I have a playlist, so feel free to check that out. That's a nice, this is a variant from something. Wolverine number 6 from the 2020. And so all the Days of Futures Past are collected here. So, oh, that's the sketch. That's cool. And so, yeah, so, we got an interview with Chris Claremont here. And so, look at this. There's going to be a Wolverine by Chris Claremont #1. So it looks like he's still not done. So I love it. So anyway, I bought this today and was so excited. I've already put it in a bag and ready to go. I am just so excited. I love the X-Men. The X-Men mean a whole lot to me, particularly this era of X-Men where I grew up. So, all right. So, X-Men 140.5, although it should be 139.5 actually, because it takes place before 140. So, anyway, I believe. So, all right. Chris Claremont, Salvador Larroca. Like and subscribe. I hope you really, really, really enjoyed this. And I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.